any people interested, by all means, they could email me and I'll give them the details.
Yeah,
Cool.
you got my email, right?
Yeah,
Right, yeah. Yeah, just shoot it over and I'll put it in the next one.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All righty, we're getting there. Away. Hey there, Dwayne. Are you down here or are you up in New Hampshire?
I'm down here. We got the foot of snow up there today, so I said I'm staying here.
Wow.
You don't like the white stuff?
I like it and stuff. Lori doesn't, but I got
I
some.
like it.
I gotta catch up.
I like it in pictures.
That's easy enough to shovel around.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. So Dave, is Liz gonna let you put up a tower and a big beam?
Well, she's got a greenhouse in the backyard, so I think it's a fair trade.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, we'll have to get you. We'll get you over here and get you on the HF. It's a lot of fun. We talk around the world. It's great.
You'll
fun.
get hooked.
Let's see. I saw Steve check in here. Oh, and here comes Phil. Oh, we got. Everybody's coming in from Eastern Mass here. Hey there. Oh, Fred, how come you're coming in as Phil with Phil's name?
Oh,
you're
okay.
Phil's Zoom.
Sorry, were you? It's the new
Oh, yeah.
Zoom. Hold on a minute. We'll fix that.
Man,
Hey there, Don.
Howdy.
Didn't you say you were moving up to Maine somewhere, or is that just for the summer?
No, that's just my camp in the summer.
Oh, all right, all right. And where in Maine were you going? Rangeley Lakes or?
Oh no, it's town of Strong near Farmington.
I have to look it up. I don't know where that is. Somewhere near where Corey lives?
North of Corey.
Oh, I see one of our new members, Bill, W5JAZ is joining us here. You gonna change your call sign to a W1JAZ?
I don't know if it's available. Yeah, I got to figure out how to put. Oop.
And Fred and Anita, welcome from New Hampshire, our New England Division Director. And
Hey, everybody. Nice
How you
to
doing,
meet
Fred?
How's it going?
you. Good. Nice to see you all again.
We're doing good. Did you guys get snow up there? Or are you in rain too?
It's like sleet and some ice. It's basically a mess.
yeah.
Not too bad. How about down your way?
All rain down here and
Oh,
freezing
that's
a little bit.
Yeah, I guess like you in South Hadley.
I don't
Yeah.
think they got snow until you get up to the Greenfield area.
Yeah.
Well,
Rain
you know,
here
it is
about
winter.
rain here about 17 inches up at my place in Maine.
17 inches of rain? Oh, 17
No,
inches of
17
snow.
inches of snow in Maine at my
Yeah.
place, but here we got all rain.
Oh, let's stay up there. Yeah, there's Jim,
where's Jim?
President Emeritus. All right, we're gonna get things rolling here. We're at 7:30, so
Good.
good evening all. Welcome to the HCRA meeting tonight, and thanks everybody for joining us. We still got people coming in. If you see me looking to the right, I'm looking at the list of people and admitting everybody in. Just like I always ask, I'm gonna ask everybody to turn off their phone ringers. Put barking dogs in the other bedroom, or bitching wives or spouses, whatever. Just to reduce the noise that your microphone might pick up, so it doesn't interrupt the meeting. I'd like to remind everybody about the 10-meter net on Monday nights at 28,375 at 7 p.m. It's a very casual group. We talk about all sorts of different things. It's always a lot of fun, very informative, and all. And if I know when Gary KC1JZR is net control, the guaranteed subject will be some sort of food source. So if you're interested in food and cooking, it's a good meeting to attend too when he's the net control. And I won't even ask him. I won't even go beyond that because he knows we'll get into that. As I mentioned last month, our Vice President, Marcel A1WH, is stepping down for personal reasons this coming June. So we're looking for someone else to join the board as Vice President. There's not a lot of responsibility, but we need people on the board to vote for things when we're on. I'm looking for somebody to take his place. You don't have to be outspoken. You don't have to run meetings unless I can't make it. And you don't have to do, you do have to do a few things, but you don't have to do a lot. It's not a big deal, but I want somebody who's going to add comments to the board. I don't want somebody that's just gonna come in and sit there like a bump on a log and not do anything. So if you've got any ideas, if you got any thoughts, I can talk to you off the meeting and we can have you join the board. And that's in June. And if you're interested, you can talk to myself, you can talk to Marcel. One of the things that we did in the past couple of months is we are an Amazon charity now. So if you do any purchasing on Amazon, you can go in and set your charity as the Hindman County Radio Association, and 1/2 of 1% on many items, not all items, will give the club a little bit of an income. So if you do a lot of purchasing or a little bit of purchasing or anything, just set up the HCRA. Directions are in Zero Beat and on the website. And, the club will benefit a little bit here, a little bit there. It all helps. The club has 2 Share the Knowledge sessions coming up for February. We had 2 in January. This coming Tuesday, February 8th, we have Intro to FT8 and FT4. And then 2 weeks later, we have Traffic Handling and the radiogram. What is it and how do you use it? So those are coming up in February above and beyond this meeting. We've had some good talks about D-Star and the Long Island CW group in January. They were a lot of fun, very interesting, very informative, helps people learn about new things and excuse me, possibly participate in new things. So anyway, so again, this coming Tuesday is Intro to FT4 and FT8, and we hope you'll join us. And Dom N1DM is our guest speaker. It's 7 p.m. on Tuesday night. I sent out links and I will send them out again. They're on the Facebook page. They're in Zero Beat. They're on the website. It's free for anybody to join us. You do not have to be a member. And all the Zoom links are current in Zero Beat and on the website, so you can go anywhere. So we've got more Share the Knowledge sessions coming up in March and April. On March 8th, we've got JS8 call. What is it? Or what is this mode and how do I use it? On March 22nd is Summits on the Air. What is it and how to get started with it? April 5th is the W1 QSL Bureau. April 19th is using propagation prediction software. So we've got February, March, and April set up above and beyond our regular monthly meetings, and some good information coming in. Next month we have the New England Forest Rally. Paul, W1SCX, is going to talk about that. April is show and tell. Now, show and tell is for when you build anything from last April to this April. If you've built any antennas, you've built any electronic projects, anything, we're hoping during the winter, during the spring, anytime you build something, you build a kit, you'll showcase it during April. We have some nice prizes for everyone. And it's also very interesting, giving ideas for other people on other things they want to build. It can be something very simple. It could be something very elaborate. It doesn't really matter what it is. There's always someone else out there that is interested in building something or trying something or modifying something. So we hope you'll participate. And that's in April. May, we have a guest speaker who's going to talk about an introduction to antenna modeling. That should be a very interesting meeting. And then in June, we have elections and field day. And we might have a mini meeting in June too. A mini guest speaker too. We'll see. June 25th is field day, and that's coming up too. And we're going to start talking about that more next month. But in the meantime, are there any announcements? Anybody want to announce anything? Al or Ann, when's the next Franklin County meeting? I don't see Aaron on here tonight. No, yes, no. Okay. All right, no other announcements. And then in that case, I'd like to introduce Ken, WO1N, who's the president of the Yankee Clipper Contest Club. And Ken, I'll click on here and share screen. And the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Larry. So this worked out good for me. Initially, you had me starting talking on, I think it was March 4th, and didn't realize that was the start of the AWL DX sideband contest, but no problems. Thank you, everyone. So let me see, just a little bit about myself before we get started with the presentation here. I mean, I've been a ham since about '89, but really a lifelong hobbyist, SWL listener since I built my first Lafayette Explorer Air receiver when I was 13 years old. Never managed to hook up with a good mentor back when we were that young, and in those days you had to know tubes and everything. So never got my ticket until my daughter was born, and then I found myself at home a lot. Finally got my ticket in '89. I live here in North Barica, Mass. We had probably 3/4 of an inch of slush and sleet, and spent most of the afternoon trying to keep the driveway clear before it froze solid as cement. So I recently retired about a year and a half ago, and immediately was pounced upon by former members of the YCCC, or current members of the YCCC, to kind of step up and take my hand at the reins. I recognize a lot of you calls out here. Larry, thank you for keeping your dues current. Jurgen, Frandy, Al, see you all guys are members, so I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with the club. Then I did something stupid recently. I actually went back to work, help out an ex-colleague that I knew from the mid-90s called me up, desperate for some engineering help. So I'm actually working again, which let's put a crimp on things, but that's a good thing. All right. So like I said, about a year ago, they pounced on me. I twisted my arm a whole lot. I finally agreed to become the YCCC president, have a better member since probably the mid-90s. They made a run at me in the early 2000s to take the reins, but I managed to fend them off back then. But I guess I was a weaker moment. So let me share my screen here, and we'll go through a little presentation. Oh, and just curious about how much time, Larry, do you want to give me?
45 to 90 minutes.
Okay, keep it to 45. That's the goal. All right, great. Share screen. Somewhere in here, there's a presentation.
You're not sharing yet. Oh, here it comes. There we go.
Full screen there. There we go. So this is kind of a canned presentation that I carry around. I have been asked by other clubs in the area to talk on occasion. So there's some slides I put together. So like I said, I joined mainly because, after I first got my ticket, I was kind of struggling to make contacts, even though 10 meters was pretty wide open in those days. But have a pretty low end station as stations go. And way back then it was just a dipole that was misoriented towards Europe, was kind of pointing east-west rather than northeast. And, I'd struggle to make contacts, but I found that when I joined contests, guys were really anxious to work me, and it was a good way to rack up contacts with a very low provision station. And my first really serious contest was the 1989 AWL 10-meter contest. And I had a whopping 105 contacts or something like that. Managed to get a certificate out of that for, single op, low power, Eastern Mass, the sun was setting in the west type of situation, which I still have hanging on my wall probably here even to this day. So that's what kind of got me into contesting. And then within a few years, I learned about the YCCC and I joined the YCCC club. I'd done stints in the Billerica Amateur Radio Society as club president, actually 2 stints at that, club secretary, club vice president, ran a couple field days. We actually won Class 5A in 1995 using my call from the top of the ski hill in Westford. So, it's hook, line, and sinker with this contesting stuff to the point where my second stint as president, people were getting tired of hearing of it and they were voting with their feet. And I finally realized, okay, I need to stop talking about contesting. And I kind of stepped back from the club president, stuff like that. And they're kind of rebuilding the Billerica club based around more normal hands. Us contesters can be a little bit crazy. So having said that, the station has grown over the years, but it's still pretty modest as stations go. But I still really love contesting. So we might want to say, and if I can find my page down, that would be good. Can't find my page down. There we go. So the club is it's a pretty big club, and I joined it because they were really into contesting. It is a contest club. Some people have joined not realizing that. I don't know how they didn't realize it and said, "You guys are crazy." We do enjoy contesting. We do offer on occasion contest universities. Frankly, we haven't offered one in a while, but we have run them in the past. A lot of good newsletter articles, and of course, in this new age of COVID, not many in-person meetings, but a lot of online meetings. Our reflector is really our strength at these days. It's pretty active. And then everything is archived and searchable. So a lot of good technical information in there, a lot of good contest stories in there, things of that nature. I like to think we are willing to help each other out. I know I've personally been to many club members' houses to help them with antenna projects, tower projects, stuff like that. That's like any other club really, just some camaraderie there. We have some pretty impressive technical folks, some pretty interesting tools, antenna design and HFTA, stuff like that, YCCC members. And over the years, we've got to operate at different stations and multi-op teams, stuff like that. I've been personally out to K1 Triple T's out in your neck of the woods many, many times. Like 14 continuous years starting in 1994. I haven't been out there in a few years, but stuff like that where you get to meet up with these people and everybody gets to share and have a lot of fun in a multi-op situation. All right. Not sure why my page down. As I mentioned, we are a contesting club. No denying that. It's kind of right in our charter to promote fun, satisfaction, and competitive thrill of radio contesting. We are, one of the larger clubs in the country. So in the case of the AWL, they call us like an ultimate club or Basically, a large club. CQ doesn't really have that designation, but we're competing really against the larger clubs, FRC, which is south of us, PVRC, which is kind of south west of us, NCCC out on the west coast, and clubs like that we're kind of competing against. And we state that we attempt to assist our members in the development of operating and technical skills. And we really are looking to win the club competitions in these major contests. Our club constitution calls this out and talks to, in specific, the AWL DX contests and the CQ Worldwide DX and WPX contests. We try to muster all troops to get on the air and do a good job in those things. We were incorporated in 1977 as a super regional club. It was formed by a merger. Some of you older guys might remember these names. Formed by a merger of the Northeast Contest Club and Murphy Marauders. Anybody out there was part of Murphy Marauders back in the day? No? The original slate of officers included Jeff Briggs, K1ZM, who's still a very active contest today. You might know him as VY2ZM these days. And he was very meticulous about documenting how it all came together. There's actually quite a good history of our club up on our website, how we pulled it together. And back in those days, it was, you get on the analog telephone and you start calling guys to try to make things happen. There's no text messaging, no emails, those types of things. So he really worked hard to try to pull those two clubs together and become the YCCC. So he's still around. Charlie Carroll's still around. These other guys moved out of the area and or have passed away. We have a website that actually just got a facelift within the past couple of weeks. The website, like a lot of things, was this massive compilation of links and stale data and stuff like that. And it really was intimidating to work on. Randy, K5 Zulu Delta, stood up and said, "Nah, I can fix this." And he kind of redid the whole thing in using WordPress and had it up and running in like 2 weeks' time. We jettisoned a lot of stuff, a lot of old links and stuff like that. But at the same time, as we go forward, we'll build back some of the more interesting stuff back into the new site. We like to claim 11 past or current contest, CQ contest, DX Amateur Hall of Fame members. Go through that in a little more detail later. And literally dozens of the major contest wins, club gavels, stuff like that. We actually are trying to recreate some of that history and make that another page on our website. We're trying to go find all the plaques the club has won over the years. Now, usually the president at the time of the win gets to keep those plaques. So some guys have, downsized, moved houses and stuff like that, and they got to dig through their boxes to find the plaques. But we're kind of working on that project right now. I mentioned we have 11 members that are either inducted into the CQ Contest Hall of Fame or the DX Hall of Fame or the Amateur Hall of Fame. You can see the list here. It goes way back to Ken Wolf, K1EA's. Really no longer an active member, but he's still around. Just got an email from him today, as a matter of fact. But he wrote the original contest logger there, CT, if you remember CT back in the day. Run on your DOS machine and stuff like that. That really opened the door to some really impressive contest results. As a result of that, of course, K1AR is still very active. We mentioned Jeff. Randy, top competitor in the community, always in the top 1 or 2 in the world, really, from his location, and he's just over the line in the Western Mass section. Doug, still very active. Of course, Dave, you guys must know Dave out there in Western Mass. Tom, who wrote the replacement for CT, as I think of it, N1MM, him and his team of guys. I use that contest logger, free contest logger all the time. And then last year was Bill Myers. Yeah, you can see the list here. And I'm on the inside track for hopefully yet another YCCC member to be inducted come come this May at the Hamvention. Can't reveal his name as of yet, but we're working on it right now. So YCCC uses the Hotel California style of membership. Once you join, you never actually get to leave. Sounds funny, but we have guys that were members back in the early 2000s. They haven't really been an active member, but when they run in the contest, they'll submit their score as YCCC, and we get to count it. But for the really active members, the guys that keep their dues up to date, 10 meetings, work lots of contests, about 250 members as of now. We're at our turnover point for the year, so membership renewals are still rolling in. It's around 250. So the club territory is really defined by both the AWL and CQ. The CQ area is a little bit larger. You can kind of see the circles on this chart here. I think this outer loop is the CQ area. I think it's 400 kilometers, whereas the AWL is 175 miles. And so what we had to do was, and what prior, executive committee members had to do is figure out where do we center the club so that we capture the most people and we leave as much of the Atlantic Ocean out of this as possible. And it somehow ended up to be Irving, Mass. So that's where our club center is declared as. So we get all of the New England states, a little bit of New York, New Jersey, Long Island, and a small amount of Southern Quebec. A very active group of VE2 guys that contest with us. I'm the current club president, vice president Charlie, N1RR, secretary Brian. He's been secretary for decades now. Treasurer Chet, same thing, and activities manager Jerry. Steve, N1SR, has actually been our newsletter editor, which was just pointed out to me that he's been doing that job for like 21 years now. He's out in your neck of the woods. So a lot of long-term, stable membership in that respect. As I mentioned, we competed in the unlimited club competition categories with the primary competitors being FRC and PBRC. Back in the early 2000s, I actually participated in a couple of joint picnics with those guys. Drove down to New Jersey, had a picnic, played some softball, and it's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. It gives you something to keep your butt in the chair when you see the FRC members, catching up to you and stuff like that. But hopefully in good fun. We'll get to see each other and shake hands out at Dayton a couple of months. And like I say, it's really the population density. They're two of the other largest clubs around, other than NCC. The guys out in California, though, they have the problem where they can't get to Europe like we can. So they have more trouble competing in things like the DX contests, although they do very well in the stateside contests. I like to think that our success really is contributed by members of all types. I mean, I mentioned my station. I mean, I've got a tri-band on a 38-foot crank up or 35-foot crank up with the mast and the rotors about 38 feet above my house. And then I got wires going in every direction in my backyard. It's kind of an EPA disaster zone type of thing, or an OSHA disaster zone. You can't walk in my yard in the winter. I deploy a inverted L with about 3,000 feet of ground radials. I've got 2 receive antennas, a shielded loop and a K9AY loop, for receiving on 160. I kind of like 160 a lot. I typically only run low power, so I compete in the single op, low power, single op, low power assisted categories. I actually like assisted operation. I kind of got into contesting when the packet cluster was all the rage. And, we used to try to cut it off from the guys to the south of us. So it would be just, the spots would be just for the YCCC, is all those good things. I used to use a node in Groton, Mass. It's my packet cluster contact. So I've always run assisted. So single op, low power assisted, And within my category, I can do, kind of top 10, top 10 finishes with the, pretty limited station running, low power, low antennas. And it's really just the dedication, butt in the chair, that helps me do that. I like to stay up late at night. That's what it comes down to. But we do have some really big guns. Dave's stations, one of the bigger, K1 Triple T out in Western Mass. There, it's one of the biggest stations in the country. Randy's got a pretty dominant station. I mean, basically bought his property, after he found the spot, by analyzing the best takeoff angles to Europe and all those types of things. A lot of guys put a lot of money into this. Used to contest with Jerry K0 TV up in Hudson, New Hampshire. He bought his house specifically so he could place antennas and, just really put buckets of money into it. And I helped him in every way I could, but, it was basically his commitment. So, again, large, medium, and small pistol stations. I think I call myself a small pistol. So, we cherish and value every member's contribution when it comes to contest time. All right. So, like I said, we're about 250 members. These are some pictures from our club archives. I mean, you can see in the upper left-hand corner is a typical YCCC meeting. We hold a lot of them in Sturbridge, Mass, the hotel down in Sturbridge, Mass. It's kind of a central place. Back in the day, back in the early 2000s, in order to be a club member, you had to attend 2 meetings a year and stuff like that. Those were, leagues set forth by CQ and the ARRL. There's no longer those requirements, so the meetings you don't have to attend them. So we have lots more Zoom meetings, of course, these days in COVID. A lot of club members over the years have sponsored picnics. A lot of these photos are from summer cookouts types of things. You can see Mark Pride, K1RX, ex-president, Jerry, W1BE, one of our technical gurus in the club there, in the upper right. On the lower left is actually from last summer. We had Gene's W3UA's house up in New Hampshire at a cookout. Really hot day. We had a couple of pop-ups. Good crowd. I think we had 40 people show up. And some more pictures, I think, from a picnic from Mark's place. You can see Tony, second from the right there. He is ex-club president, Tony K1KP, another technical guru. Jack W1WF from Connecticut. So a lot of guys you hear about, in the contests, and some good times together. We also like to think ourselves as a technical powerhouse. K1XM actually has cranked out several important designs for contesters over the years. The SO2R box, which I helped collaborate on that a bit. Got my name on the PCB as a result. I got one over here at my station, even though I only run a single radio. The MOAS, the mother of all the antenna switches, really complex device that allows you to switch as many antennas as you can imagine, as many radios as you can imagine, using a software protocol called OTRSP, which he kind of defined, and really important boxes. We actually offered the SO2R box to DX Engineering, and it actually progressed quite a bit, but right at the end, DX Engineering did not pick it up. We weren't looking to make any money off of it or anything like that. But over the years, we've gone into production on that, and I think we have about 250 units distributed around the world. Now we got the younger generation, Marty Sellaway, NN1C. I don't know if any of you guys have crossed paths with him, real powerhouse. He kind of subsetted the SO2R box into the SO2R Mini, which has been very popular. give you just the essentials, keying your radio, those types of things. We got John Kaufman, W1FE, another technical guru around receive antennas or antennas in general. He has done a lot of the antenna design and work up at KC1XX's up in Mason, New Hampshire. His receiving array was sold through DX Engineering for a number of years. And now you see guys taking his designs and doing derivatives of them. BE6WZ, Steve up in Canada, another big 160 guy. He's just taken the receive combiner from one of John's designs, kind of optimized it a bit. And of course, I mentioned, CT from K1EA back in the day, but now these days, N1MM Plus contest logger, Tom Wagner out in your neck of the woods. So a lot of things going on there. We could talk about, our contributions back to the community. We sponsor about a dozen, it kind of varies a bit each year. If you follow the contest results in CQ or the AWLDX, you'll see plaques sponsored by different clubs. We're currently sponsoring about a dozen in the major contests and then a couple more in the NEQP events. These are some of the recent winners. So we sponsor in the WPX, for instance. We sponsor single ops, 7 megahertz, single op, single band types of things, really roundup. And these are some of the winners. They receive the plaque. They usually will write a letter back to us thanking us for sponsoring those types of things. As I mentioned, NEQP sponsored plaques, several there. The single op, DX single op, and USA single ops. So, usually the contest sponsor takes care of those, and we basically just cough up the cash to cover the plaque and mailing costs and all those types of things. We do have a scholarship program. It's in a little bit of trouble now because it seems that we were violating just about every known law to man about raffles and stuff like that. So we kind of took a step back, but we have awarded these over the years, typically $1,500. It's managed by the ARL Foundation, and some of those names, you might recognize some of those names on there. So if you remember back in 2014, the WRTC event that was held in New England, K1DG was head of that, Doug Grant. We've always supported that event, either by supplying the competitors. Doug and John K1AR were like in the first one held in Seattle. I think it was back in 1994. And we've sent, competitors to events over the years all around the world. And if you guys are probably involved, I think it sucked up just about every ham in New England to pull off the WRTC 2014 event. And we continue to contribute financially to the ongoing events. So we, of course, again, ran the 2014 major contributions to the 2018 event. And then this year, it was supposed to be WRTC 2022, but with COVID just running rampant in Italy, they had to push it out another year. So hope to attend that. It's kind of on my bucket list. And the YCCC will be supporting them as much as we can. It's also, if you're in the, follow contesting, there's been a group of guys that are trying to really standardize how logs are adjudicated and provide compute horsepower to make sure that happens fairly. So they formed this community, WWROF. Again, some of the names you've already seen in this presentation are principals behind that: K1DG, K1AR, K5 Zulu Delta. And we, basically on a yearly basis, make sure they got enough funding or help them make sure they got enough funding to continue to run that effort. So that pretty much wraps it up. I mean, we again emphasize it is a contest club. Some guys get taken aback by that. What's all this competition talk and stuff like that? Just have to go into it with your eyes open. And the guys that are members are pretty crazy contesters. I was just talking with our vice president a couple hours ago, and he enters 40 to 50 contests a year from his station. So, me, I really, really enjoy it. I don't know that I have that many free cycles. Probably a dozen a year for my station. But we really do look to promote the fun and satisfaction and competitive thrill of contesting and help improve our stations together. So we, how do you join us? It's actually been cleaned up. Up until about 2 weeks ago, you had to go find this PDF form that we'd sent around. You had to fill it out and scan it in, or if you had a PDF editor, edit it in. We actually now have an online application on our website. Thank God. And it automatically gets mailed to the executive committee, so we see that we don't lose it. So you fill out the online membership application. Then we'll get back to you and say, all right, look, you have to attend a regular or an approved area meeting. And in the meeting, we will read off your application and then ask you to give just a quick pitch about yourself and why you want to join a contest club. The membership takes a vote. I've never seen the membership vote anybody down, but we do take a ceremonial vote. And once you're voted in, then you pay your dues, which is $15 a year, and there's instructions on how to pay them by PayPal and all that good stuff. So like I said, until about 2 weeks ago, it was a little bit more cumbersome with pushing forms around via email. Now we have this nice online application. So, all right. At this
good,
point,
Ken.
open it up to questions.
Anybody have any questions or comments? My goodness, quiet group tonight. Go ahead, Paul.
Just you answered one question that your meetings are generally in the Sturbridge area. I think I heard you say. How often do you meet?
So
I mean, let me ask the question again.
Yeah.
We're all in Zoom mode now, but I mean,
yes,
when you meet physically, how often
mess.
do you meet?
It's actually kind of a mess. We've actually it is quite a commitment because we cover such a wide area. Guys have to drive 2 and 3 and 4 hours to get to a meeting, even in Sturbridge. Sometimes we move them around. I think we've had them out in Western Mass on occasion. We've had them up in New Hampshire on occasion, but it is a big commitment. With COVID, we really haven't had any regular in-person meetings. What I could see happening is we have one in-person meeting a year, and that will be at the Ham Exposition down in Marlboro. We had last one last September, and then the rest have been Zoom meetings. Now, formerly we would, in the old days before COVID, we would meet in person 6 times a year. February, like every 2 months, starting in February. So February, April, June. I think we would take the summer off, and we would encourage area club, area cookouts, stuff like that. We do have this concept of area managers. We have a half dozen area managers defined, really trying to encourage them to step up a bit more and run more local types of events. Tom, WNTO, is the area manager out in your neck of the woods. We get a young kid up in Vermont doing some good stuff, K1L, LOL. So we're really trying to make better use of that as we go forward. But again, at this point, it's looking like one get-together meeting, face-to-face meeting at the Ham Exposition, and then Zoom meetings as necessary or as planned.
When's your next meeting, Ken?
So the next meeting is either next Wednesday or the Wednesday after that. And it's struggling a little bit to pull together the meetings. As I mentioned, I just went back to work. I haven't been able to do it. So that's why we were having a conversation, telephone call tonight, trying to figure out how we pull this off. But the next one could be either next week or the week after.
So if any of the people here were interested in attending the meeting, can you attend if you're not a member?
Yeah, sure. You can attend,
Where do
particularly
you
if
get
you
the
fill
link?
out a.
Where do you
fill
get the
out an
link for the
application
meeting?
form. What's that?
Where do you get the link for the meeting?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to reach out to me or something like that.
Okay, so give them your email address.
Yeah, I bet you all can guess it. So,
Okay, any other questions? Anybody, I know we've got a number of people that have been members for quite a while with the YCCC and all, and it's a type of group where you can be members of Hampden County, you can be members of YCCC. I think I'm members of 4 or 5 different ham clubs in Massachusetts or New England area. It's if you're interested in contesting, it's the place to be. They can really help you out too with what you want to do. So, any other questions or comments? Nobody else? Wow, quiet night for everybody. Thank you, Ken, very much for joining us tonight, especially last minute, even though it was more convenient than doing it during the contest. I just want to point out a couple of things. Is Ken, KD1KU, is doing a great job with Zero Beat. Spends a lot of time doing it. Every month we've got an issue with 20 to 25 pages and lots of good information. So hopefully everybody's reading that. You can get the latest issues, and you can go all the way back to 1948 and get most of the issues between 48 and current on the hcra.org website. Sometimes going back and reading some of the past issues can be very interesting too. I've gone back and I've done that randomly, and some of the people I recognize when I got involved in '77, but some of the things, and you can see also the changeover at where it gradually happened from using a typewriter and a mimeograph machine to computer too, and how things change. And again, next month is the New England Forest Rally by Paul, WO1N. And then hopefully you're working on projects for show and tell. Show and tell has always been a lot of fun. In the past, we've had people make CW paddles. They've made amplifiers and antennas and you name it across the board. It can be anything. You can put together a CW key as your first project and come and show us and tell us about it. Or you can be building, your 100th project and tell us about that too. It's always something fun. It's always very interesting, and there's always somebody else that wants to build something that you've shown or take what you've built and modify it. So hopefully you'll join us for that. You can always check on the latest and upcoming meetings in Zero Beat, in the HCRA website, and such. So I'd like to thank everybody for attending. Hopefully I'll work you this weekend in the 1010 contest, which is a sideband contest. And do we have any other last minute questions or announcements or anything before we close the meeting down?
Hey, Larry, I've got one, if I could take a minute.
Go right ahead, Fred.
Hey, thanks. So I just want to let everybody know that we are going to be holding an ARL Division Town Hall meeting on Wednesday, February 16th at 7 o'clock. If you all are subscribing to the division email list, you've already gotten an email with some information about the meeting and a link where you can register to join. If not, if you go to the division website, which is nediv.org, You can find the link in the blog post there. And I've also posted that to the chat if anybody wants to pick it up. We'll be doing an ARL update, introducing our new assistant directors and spending about half the meeting on Q&A and trying to listen to what you all think is important.
Sounds good. Anybody have any questions for Fred or comments?
No, nothing, Fred, but this is WA2IOS, and I have sort of two general questions to put out to people.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, first of all, Larry and I had talked about possibly getting 2 antennas up here at my location. If we have any weather breaks, I was sort of curious if I could maybe get somebody to, as people know, I'm legally blind, and I'd like to see if I could get a long wire put up, and also a 2 meter 440 antenna maybe put up on the house.
Would anybody like to volunteer here, or we can spread the word around? All right. Well,
And the
go
other
ahead,
thing
Mark.
is, I had just gotten hold of. I had purchased from my wife, and then she decided she didn't want anything to do with it, so I decided to keep it. A 3D printer. So I want to just do some small stuff with the. It's a VIBO 2 touch 3D printer, and I haven't even gotten around to putting it together, but I'd like to put that together, and just anybody who's had any experience doing some printing, I just need a couple of tutorials just to get things up and running.
That I know nothing about, but drop me an email, Mark, with the information and your 2 requests. So we'll put it out on the email list and the HRA Facebook page, and we'll find some volunteers for you to get the antennas up, and hopefully somebody that can help you with the 3D printer too.
Yeah, because I had been looking around for some makers groups or that in the area, and I've been sort of having some problems finding them. I had found something about like an artist, a whole artisan group at Westover Air Force Base, and then I thought I had taken down the URL, but then I've lost it on my desk, as you can see the desk here, and it's a little bit messy. I'm in the process of redoing things, and I just can't locate it. And I've been looking on the web again, trying to find them, and I just can't locate them.
Well, we'll see what we can do about finding you some help and all. Charlie, I think you had a question. You got to unmute yourself. You're still muted.
Yeah, the space bar wasn't working. Supposed to work. But oh well, technology. Yeah, question for Fred. Fred, with that town hall meeting, is there a limit as far as how many people can sign up or will be admitted?
500 is what we've set it up for right now. If we need more, we'll add more.
Excellent.
And
Thank you.
we've got almost 100 people registered already. It just came out this afternoon, so it looks like it's going to be a pretty well attended event.
Yeah, I saw the email. Unfortunately, apologize for my back during the meeting. NCS for Skywarn, and we've been running since 7:30 this morning. That's finally wrapping up. But thank you.
Yep.
Sounds good. Any other questions or announcements? Anything new for Western Mass, Ray, wherever you are up there? You still here? I don't know. Oh,
I got
Gary.
something.
Go ahead, Gary.
I don't know if anybody mentioned during the pre-meeting, but I believe the Antique Wire Association AM rally is now underway as of tonight.
Hasn't been mentioned before.
Well, I know there's going to be some personalities at the league, ARRL, running the station there. And there it is. It runs through Sunday, I believe.
Okay, where can people find more information?
I would just say, well, I know it's WO1N. Steve, it's one of the big AMers And you could look up his call. I'm sure everything to do with it is there, and or just do a Google search for it. But it's Antique Wire Association.
Okay, cool, cool. Thanks very much, Gary. Any other last minute comments or anything? Just want to remind everybody for the 10 meter net Monday at 7 p.m. and the next Share the Knowledge session, which is Tuesday at 7 p.m. also. And it's all about FT4 and FT8. And other than that, I'd like to wish everybody a great weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we'll see you next month. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everybody. 73.
Good night, all.
23.
Thanks, Larry.
Oh,
Good
you're
night, all.
welcome,
Very
Fred.
good job.
Good
Everybody
night.
have a great weekend.
Hey,